becoming top stars.
Behind every top-selling team is a system that runs like clockwork and a leader that makes it happen.
Now it's deal time.
Welcome to Meet the Agent podcast. I'm Wendy Clare of Jeuje Interiors.
She's the agent.
Today, meet Tina O'Connor of Grey White Inner West, who shares with us a secret of her success. She reveals the blueprint she's refined for systems that don't just inspire, they sell. Your videos are fantastic and they're very polished. How are you also managing, as you do, to bring in some kind of personality to that as well? It doesn't seem like a fake polish to me.
She's the agent.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I guess when I started in real estate first, I was younger, obviously. And I had a private social media and then I had my professional social media. And then as I got older and, I did work on myself, as a person, you look, and I think at a certain age, you have to sit down, and if you have the mentality that it's their fault, it's her fault, it's his fault, it's their fault, you got to sit with yourself and kind of go, maybe it's me. Maybe somewhere here, I got to be accountable for some of these situations that I'm in. And I think when you sit down and you have that conversation with yourself and you realize, maybe, yeah, it could be me in these certain situations. And it helps you grow as a person. So I've done a lot of work on myself over the years. And I think slowly I've been able to just amalgamate my private life and my business life, my professional life, and just make it into one aligned person. So my social media is me. Everything that's on my social media, it's not, it's not fake in any way. It is my life and it's just who I am. So I don't have to hide who I am, which is good. I feel authentic and aligned. And if it's nice to be polished with the videos that we do, but it's real life as well. Like all of my stories, that's just my real life. That's what I do.
Yeah, I think there's a real warmth that comes across in them too from you, which I love. And also, I guess when you say what you're saying, the lines in a sense, you can tell you really mean them. Like when you say, here's this beautiful place in Annandale, who wouldn't want to live here? You're speaking it with a real confidence, but also I can tell you're very passionate and you really mean that. I think we can tell when someone's genuine, can't we?
Yeah, because you can see it in their eyes and their actions, and it's not just what they're saying, it's how they're saying it, and I guess their expressions and all of the rest. So yeah, no, I do mean it, and I'm delighted. Like to do what I do, I love what I do. I'm doing what I love every single day. So yeah, I really do mean it, and I'm happy about it, and it's great.
You also have this beautiful lilting accent. Where is that from? Tell me about this.
So my accent is Irish, obviously.
If you want to know the secret to life, my grandmama always said that real estate was the best way to get ahead. And my daddy said, if you're a lady, then you better not depend on some old fella for the bread. Oh, when you look at me, I hope you see a chick from Ireland who grew
I'm from Tipperary, which is down south in Munster in Ireland. I grew up in the country. My mother had a pet shop. So we lived beside a pet shop.
Your mother had a pet shop. You lived in the country.
Yeah. My dad used to make garden furniture from timber, like timber garden furniture. And
rustic benches, that kind of thing.
That's
right,
I adore
that.
These little bird feeders and bird houses and picnic tables and dog kennels and garden furniture, yeah. So they worked and lived together, and that's how I grew up. And we were very lucky, yeah.
Beautiful. I can imagine the green rolling hills and a very kind of calm and also very polished in its beauty. It's interesting. And so what brought you to Australia and to real estate?
When I was about 25, 26, I started feeling like, all of my friends were getting married, having babies and doing all of that. And at the time, I just wasn't there. Like it wasn't in my headspace. So I wanted to go and travel and see the world a little bit. And yeah, I left for Australia. I actually won the price of the ticket on a radio show, which was crazy. I was at work. I didn't even listen to the radio normally, right? But I just was walking past, and the guy on the radio goes, caller number 8, you'll win like, I don't know, $3,000 or 2,000 euros or whatever it was. And I just picked up the phone and it rang, and they were like, caller number 8. And I was like, oh my God. So I won, and straight away I booked my ticket. I took it as a sign and I left.
What pulled you to Australia?
So I was either going to go to Australia or America, and I thought that I could go to America for a career. I could come to Australia to have a bit of fun. And yeah, so I came to Australia first, thinking I'd probably end up in America at some point. But then I got here and I just absolutely loved it. I met somebody. I just absolutely loved it. And it just, I loved every second of it. It's been amazing. Australia has been the lucky country for me. That's for sure.
I'm glad we've got you. So what is your life now outside of real estate? I hear, and I've seen some photos that you, like me, are a proud dog mom. Is that right?
Yes, I'm a proud dog mom. Yeah, Sprinkle. She's over 10 years old now. I still remember the day I got her. She's so cute. But she's French bulldog. She's over 10 years old. She has a few health issues at the moment, but we're dealing with them. Her quality of life is still amazing. So yeah, life is good. They've got a great personality.
Oh, they do. Bulldogs do. And okay, getting to your personality, we're already getting a feel for it, which is fantastic. But yeah, I love to ask everyone, is there a music star that you feel kind of connects with your vibe, that you really relate to or feel fits your style?
You know what? I have never been able to answer this question. Like, I've never been able to pick just one person and kind of go, like, that's me. But like, there's two types of music, good and bad, right? And I like good music, obviously. But like one day I could be listening to 90s like house, and then another day I could be listening to classical music at my open homes. I've started listening to classical bangers at my open homes, which are amazing.
Meet the agent. I'm an immigrant. I win the lottery. I'm on a flight. Now I'm going down under. From my
like, I've got a record player at home.
My aunt is Irish, my uncle's Irish.
And I've got so many different genres of music. Like, there's no sense to it. But I like that because I could change like the wind, I guess. Like, I've got Harry Styles and I've got Bruce Springsteen. Last week I was listening to Tegan and Sarah again. Don't know if you know them, Canadian duo.
How does this connect with you, with your role now as a real estate agent? And you know, tell me a little bit about what you feel passionate about in real estate.
Feel passionate about in real estate. I like to deliver the best possible service that I can. Like, I am driven by doing a good job. That's just how, like, if I made a lot of money on a deal and the person wasn't really particularly happy with my service, I'd be gutted about that. Because it's kind of more important to me to do a really good job and the person to walk away and be like, no, that was incredible. That was good service. Like, that's how it's done. Like, I have had people say to me, one lady in particular said to me that she sold, over 12 properties or something, and she had 12 different real estate agents. She'd renovated 12 properties and sold them. So she dealt with over 12 real estate agents. And she said to me that my service was above and beyond anything she'd ever experienced in the past. And I took that as a great compliment because she was someone who should know what she's talking about. She did know what she was talking about. And actually, when we were finished that deal, I got paid. And then she gave me like something like $27,000 of a tip, which I hadn't had that before. But wow. I think that was a testament to how much of a good job they felt that we did. So yeah, I was very happy with that. But it wasn't the money. It was just the feeling that this person is very experienced and she appreciates the service that she's been given, which was great.
Yeah, and you've obviously made a really big difference to her life, in a very real way, for her to feel that appreciative. So that's fantastic. Was there a particular thing about your service that she picked up on that was, a difference from other agents?
I do put a lot of effort into the auction campaigns that I run, and they can be so busy. Like, it takes it takes a lot out of me to do these. And I run almost every property to auction. Okay. So there might be an odd time, like maybe 1 in 10, where you might end up selling prior to auction because that is the best thing to do by the owner. Okay. But 9 times out of 10, going to auction is the best thing for the owner if they're trying to get the maximum result, which most people are trying to do, especially if they're going to auction, right? So, like I've had one lady tell me that I've completely changed her life. She made over $750,000 more than what she was expecting. And she was like, "You've literally changed my life," which was like, that's lovely. That's really nice to hear someone say that you've changed their life and I've made her life better. She said, like, I can probably give up work now. I can live in a house that I thought I never could afford. So that's beautiful. It's really nice to help people like that.
Yeah, fantastic. So that is a very high pressure environment with a whole lot going on. I know you're very passionate as well about processes and systems, which I don't hear from other people about. So tell me, how is that a part of getting everything to auction, getting these superb results?
I'm very process driven. I actually didn't know that I was this process driven until some people ask me questions. Then I have to look and think, like think about what I do. But now that I have been thinking, you sent me some questions, I was sitting there looking at them and I'm like, wow, I am really process driven. So no matter what's happening in our business, if something goes wrong anywhere, I don't just go, oh, okay, we'll get it next time or whatever. I want to know where it went wrong, why it went wrong, because I want to build a process or a system to make sure that never happens again. So that's everything we do in our business. So I have a process around when I'm teaching the juniors, I have a process around when you get to the property, what you do first, what you do second, giving them tips. You do it like this, because if you do it like that, this is going to happen. You don't want that to happen. You lose control, this, that, this. So I have a checklist around almost every single thing that we do, which I think is good for the juniors because they know exactly, you follow the checklist and you know that you're doing it well. And the checklist, it comes from, well, myself, I've been doing this for 15, 16, 17 years. And those checklists are there from failures that I've had in the past, or, I don't have any other selling agent underneath me. So I've been in an elite, I've been chairman's elite in Ray White, and I've done that on my own. Right. So I would never have been able to do that kind of business if I didn't have processes. It would have eaten me alive. Like the stress and the craziness would have devoured me. So I had to have processes. So that's where it came from. It was a necessity, really.
Yeah, it's very practical too. I love that. Whereas sometimes you hear, and I see a lot of the podcasts, they're all about various mindsets and things. You can hear and get advice saying different things, can't you? It can be all a bit wishy-washy how to apply things.
Yeah.
But you've really got making it systematic, I think makes it really doable, doesn't it?
Yeah, everything we do is process driven, and it's good for juniors when they're learning because they know, right, did I do a good job? Did I follow the process? And they know where they stand. But little things like, I had a property last week, and this happens all the time. It's not a rare occurrence. This happens all the time. I had a property last week. The owner was like, "Look, I want to go to China. Can you just get this thing sold?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So we ended up getting more than what she wanted, which was awesome. And we had offer and acceptance. And she was like, "Right, just get it done for me." So I contacted everybody. Once we had offer and acceptance, I contacted everybody who had seen the property, which is at the bare minimum. We have an office policy to do that. So you hear these horror stories from buyers coming along going, "Oh, I was interested in that property, but I got up this morning to come to the open home and it was sold last night and they never told me." That never happens in our business, ever. So we have a policy around that not happening. So in this particular instance, I had offer and acceptance. And not only did I contact everybody who had seen the property and had a contract on the property, but I also contacted anyone who hadn't seen the property. And we ended up getting another 100,000 or something from a client that hadn't actually seen the property.
Right.
So little things like that, little tweaks like that, a vendor would never know. Like the owner was happy. So to get her another 100,000, an age that's irrelevant to some agents, but that's what I mean. I like to leave no stone unturned, and I like to put the maximum amount of effort in to make sure that I know that it was a good result.
Right.
Like
So
if
you know you've got
happy,
the maximum because by doing that extra mile, you're getting that extra 100,000 or extra 1 mil or whatever it is, which is really important to people.
yeah. And sometimes the owner is oblivious. They would not know, but I would know, if you know what I mean. Like, so that's why sometimes it's hard to prove to an owner how tight your processes are, or how, you know, how focused you are on doing the right thing, because sometimes they would never know the difference. Like I see some agents, they do one open home. They might get an offer at the first open home and then the house is sold. And I feel like, wouldn't you, if it's that hot of a property and people walk in and give you an offer at the first open home, doesn't it stand to reason that you would do 8 of those open homes and get multiple people interested, and then maybe get them in a room and call it an auction? You know, like that's just how my mindset works. And I have gotten 600,000, 660,000, 700,000, 750,000 more than what an owner actually wanted. That's happened more times than I can remember. And I'm very proud of that. But that's because I left absolutely no stone unturned and I stuck to the process.
Fantastic. So obviously there's some sticking points of like the biggest mistakes that people overlook, and not calling people back seems to be, a big one. I mean, I was quite amazed when you told me you ring every single person. I've never heard of anyone doing that. I'm not an agent though, but I was like, how do you find the time? That's incredible. I think when you have a whole lot of AI bots to work with you, you'll be, unstoppable. You already are. But what other examples are there of like the biggest mistakes in lack of process?
Biggest mistakes. Recently, again, I'm just calling from recent examples that I can remember. But there was one luxury apartment I went to list recently. And the owner, when she was showing me around, she said to me, "Oh, do you know that we have this storage unit?" She goes, "I didn't actually know when I bought the property that I had this storage unit. I only found out after the property had settled." I think she'd found out from a neighbor or something that it was her storage unit, which, like, that's wild. Like, that blows my mind that an agent could be running a process where they don't even know fully the product that they're selling. So that would never happen in our business. Even the most junior of the juniors would understand, like without even seeing the property, that there's a storage unit, or there's two or three car spaces, or all of the above, right? So we have processes around everything like that. Like, that just wouldn't happen in our business. And I find that crazy. Like, if that can happen to an agent, like, what else is left to chance?
Right. What else has been overlooked that you don't know about?
Well, when you have things to store, it's absolutely priceless.
Can you describe one system or process you've refined over the years that you now couldn't live without?
I think that would have to be our full auction process. We have refined that. I've been doing the same auction process for 15 years, and I have refined that process. You do an open home, you get contracts issued. I know that 1/3 of the people that get a contract will be at the auction. And I've been tracking this for 15 years, and I know that to be a fact. So if your property is tracking the way it normally should, just say you issue 9 contracts, we will have 3 people at the auction. Like, that's how it goes. Okay. Now, if you have a property that's very attractive and popular, you might end up with 5 people at the auction, because that's above average, right? But the average would be you would have 3 people at the auction for 9 contracts issued. So the auction process, I have it down to a fine art at this point. We know exactly how it should look, feel, act, and we can give the owner guidance based on that from week to week. So that's one process that we have refined, and I could not live without.
Absolutely. Well, that actually, I think, even answers the question I was going to ask you. How do you know when a process is good enough and when it needs to be refined? That's, I'm presuming, when you're not getting those numbers that you expect, right? You've got the sort of statistical backup that you can tell something's falling short.
That's right. So I do see with some agencies or vendors telling me about previous experiences they've had with agents where an owner might say to me, "Oh, I can't do auction." And I would say, "Why? Why can't you do it?" "Oh, no, auctions don't work." I'm like, why do you think auctions don't work? Like, my personal clearance rate has been like in the 90th percentile for 10, 12, 13 years. So for someone to say auctions don't work, I don't get that. I just don't get it. So when they say auctions don't work, it's because maybe the agent that they chose to do the auction, it wasn't their forte. It wasn't what they specialize in. So you can go to a doctor, right? Or you can go, if you've got a sore leg. You can go to a doctor who's a GP, or you can go to like a joint and leg specialist. I don't know what they're called, but you know, you can go to a specialist who specializes in joints, or you can go to a GP. So I see myself as an auction specialist. I'm not just a real estate agent, I'm an auction specialist. So if you want to get a fantastic auction, you will go to an auction specialist. You can't just go to a real estate agent who doesn't specialize in auctions and expect to get an incredible result. They're two different things. And if an agent doesn't have confidence in what they're doing, that's going to translate to the owner, right? And I've often had feedback through owners that some agents, they're nervous about auctions because they're probably not sure of a proper process to run. So then they would tell the owner, "Oh, it's not an auction market at the moment. Auctions are not working." I've never had a market where auctions were not working, ever. It's always an auction market. It's coming down to how the auctions are handled. We do in-room auctions. We do on-site, which everyone can do. And we also do in-room auctions. So, you know, there's been nights where I would have 4 auctions. I think sometimes one night I had 5 auctions in one night. So, yeah, you can't carry your feelings. You shouldn't really have too many feelings. It should be, business. But you can't really carry from one to another. Like that energy is contagious. So you've got to kind of wipe it and then get to the next one. But we work in unison, right? So it's not, some people feel that the auctioneer is a totally separate entity to the agent. And you know what? Maybe they are in some cases, but we work together. So myself and Peter and all the agents in our office and Peter have a really good relationship. And Peter is really good at taking instructions. So we will have a game plan before each auction. We'll give him the game plan and then he will follow it. So we work together and we know, like I can look at him and he'll know what I'm thinking almost. You know, we're that used to each other and it works really well.
Yeah, I bet. I'd love to have a sign up. Our business motto is, well, that escalated quickly. I like to joke around. It's an Irish thing, right?
It is an Irish thing.
So I'm interested to hear a bit more about mentoring. This is really leadership that you're presenting and providing to, which is so outstanding. How does that process of, let's not call it reaching for perfection, but reaching for excellence, how does that affect the way you're mentoring?
Mentoring, yeah. Our office is very strong on training and mentoring. And like I work with Harry, he's the director here, and like he's fantastic in my opinion. Like he's the best real estate agent in the country, in my opinion. He's really good at training. He really knows what he's doing, and he trains all of the junior agents and myself, and then I would train the junior agents as well, based on like his 30, maybe 35 years experience. I'm not sure, but so every agent that comes through here would get incredible training. But there's one thing that I like to train the junior agents to do, and that is to say, I don't know. Some people have a huge issue saying, I don't know. And when they're asked a question at an open house and they literally don't know, they'll just start verbal diarrheaing, trying to get through it. So I have to teach them. It is okay to say that you don't know. You just tell the person, look, I'm not sure about that. Can I take your phone number and I'll come back to you? You go and you find out, and then you come back with the real information and you call the person. And then they're like, wow, that's really impressive that you, first of all, didn't lie, went and found out the correct information. And third of all, actually phoned me back. Then you go from
bluffing,
someone who's bluffing to someone who's really gone up in estimations and really is a credible person now. That was one of the major stumbling blocks, I think, at the beginning with the junior agents, because they're very, they don't want to come across like they're not intelligent or stupid or this or that or insecure or whatever it is. So I really just teach them it is okay not to know. And there's plenty of things that I don't know. But the one thing that you shouldn't do is bluff, because it will come back on you. It'll come back on you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will. So that's one of the major training points that I go through with all of the juniors.
It really touches on that issue of trust.
That's right.
Talking about, and is so important. And once the trust is gone,
that's it. And if you might think that your bluff, you're talking away, and you might think the person's buying it just because they haven't said anything, and they're not going to say anything. They're just going to walk away and go, okay, never using that person. Blown your chance, basically.
Yeah, people don't give negative feedback usually. They just ghost you. They disappear. So very true.
That's it. My boss actually taught me that it's the little things. It's the little things where you'll get business, because I feel how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're half-assing something, that's just your half-asser. That's it. That's what you do. You know?
People can tell if you don't know
Oh, they
what
can
to talk
tell.
about.
Yeah. You know, the way people say that, oh, real estate agents, they're so into how they look, or their, their presentation, or all of the rest. But I think it's important to present well, because like I say, if you look like you're not coping in your own life, how are you going to help someone else?
Mm.
I mean, you want to go with the person who looks like they're in control. They're eating well, they're exercising, they're not coming to work hungover, they're not coming to work with no sleep, been up till 4 a.m. partying with their friends. Like, you don't want to deal with that person, or at least I don't. So you want to deal with the person who looks like they're in control. They're polished, because it means that they have a certain respect for themselves, and therefore they will have a certain respect for you. I think what sets us, or myself, apart from the general market or general real estate agents is, I'm not in a hurry to sell this person's property, the vendor's property. I'm not in a hurry. Even if we get an offer that sounds amazing and the owner's happy, I'm not in a hurry just to get it off the books.
Right.
And I feel like some sales are made, and a lot of these results, they're done because it's a bit self-serving on behalf of the agent, because they just get an offer that's close. They talk the vendor into a situation where, yeah, this is really, you should do this, so put a bit of pressure on and just get it sold so they can move on to the next thing. I think that's what sets us apart. We run a full process. And if we didn't, we wouldn't have these incredible results. So you can't get 750 over expectation, or 660 over expectation, which we've done many, many, many times. But that would never happen if we took the good offer after 3 open homes, or after 1 week on the market. And a lot of agents, their actual MO is to sell the property within 10 days. And they feel that if the property's not sold within 10 days, that is somehow a failure. I totally disagree. Totally. And I think the results speak for themselves in that regard. So that's just one thing that I'm passionate about. I know it works. I'm coming from a place of knowing, I'm not guessing about this. I actually know this. So yeah, but I guess people are different. Like, they have their system, we have our system. It's good.
And I'm curious to know then, as a wrap up question, then what's next for you?
What's next for me?
Yeah.
I'm building my team. I'm always building my team, because, the junior agents, they come, you nurture them for a year and a half, 2 years, and then they're off and hopefully going out on their own, or, moving to a different business, or whatever, moving on with their life. What's next for me? Yeah.
You're going to run Ray White? Is there something above the chairman's elite?
Maybe. Watch this space. I can't really talk about it right now, but maybe. Watch this space.
I'm going down under. Meet the agent. I'm an immigrant. I win the lottery. I'm on a flight now. I'm going down under.
Thank you so much, Tina. That was very insightful and inspiring.
I'm a blue-eyed girl in a new
And thank you everyone for listening in. I'm Wendy Clare of Jeuje Interiors. Join us next week for another episode of Meet the Agent podcast.